you. So 6, 8, we're going to make another run at it. We're going to make, there's one problem group that'll be a little bit harder and one group that'll be, I think, a little bit easier. So we'll see how that works out for us. This is still usually called foiling, but the acronym kind of falls apart today. So one thing we're looking to do today is multiply other things, other than just binomials with binomials. What would this one be called, kind of a thing? That's a trinomial, and this is a trinomial. This is a binomial, this is a trinomial. The homework will have none that do trinomials times trinomials. So I'm starting with one harder than the homework, just in order to put your mind at ease. Because if you can do this one, like, you can do anything in the homework. The homework will have those, some binomials times trinomials. But yesterday, binomials times binomials, how many answers did we get, at least for a second? 4. So what do you think will happen for trinomial times trinomial? 9, because 3 times 3 makes 9. How about binomial times trinomial? 6. There will be some in the homework with 6. There's nothing in the homework with 9. But here's the ruling. It's still called foiling, but like this time, I guess these are the firsts, but like it's not just the firsts and the outsides and the insides and the lasts. There's a lot of other stuff too. So that's why I don't really over-publicize the acronym sometimes. I'm going to just keep emphasizing the idea of, if you just had the A, what would you do? Distribute. And you get 3 things that have A's on them. If you just had the B's, same thing with B's. If you just had the C, same thing. You have them all, so you just have to patiently make sure you get all the combinations going. So my emphasis will be, make sure every term of the first factor, these are called factors, the pieces that multiply together. You might remember that from 7th grade life. You multiply together factors, the answer is called P4. Multiplying answer is called the product. Okay, so we need to take every item from one factor times every item from the other factor. And I'm going to tell you that being orderly is your friend. Yesterday it didn't matter as much. We knew we were getting 4. Sometimes we were in class and on your homework I could tell, just kind of blurting them out in any random order, and you get done and be like, man, I have 3, which one am I short? And sometimes it would take a second to like figure out, wait, I didn't get that pair yet. When there's 9 pairs, I think you want to try to be orderly. So I would pick a letter. A would make the most sense to me. Pick the A and just work all the combinations with A. I would need to do A times D plus AE plus AF, and then I'd forget about A. I'm done. The A is done. I've moved on. Now I probably would move on to B. That would make the most sense to me. If you start to get all scattered, I think it gets weird. Do the first one first, do the second one second, do the third one third, I think is the way to go. But if you use the B now, we're going to get BD. Then we're going to get BE, and we're going to get BF. And then we're done with B's, and we move on to C's. Use the C's, and the C's would get you CD plus CE plus. And then I think it's a good idea to go 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. Yes, got them all. Question about that one? That's bigger than anything we're going to do the rest of the time or in homework. I think on the quiz I have a crazier one. I think I might have like 4 terms times 5 terms, which would get you 20. You know, be careful, you get them all. It wouldn't be that big of a fuss, but it'd take you a minute. And then maybe they'd combine, maybe they don't. But I think that's the bonus question on the next quiz, is like a monster. For this, I would just operate off the 3x. Let the 3x hit everybody else. So 3x with this, 15x cubed, 3x hits that, 18x squared, 3x hits that, 21x. Question about that triple? And move on to the 4. 4 has to hit them all also.
20x squared.
20x squared. Instead of continuing to write randomly across the board, I'm going to line these up with their like term friends. So 20x squared would line up with who?
18x squared.
Yeah, I'm going to do the 20x squared, just kind of line up under there and get to them in a minute. They'll be easier to find if we group them while we write them. Then
24x.
24x goes with
21.
the 21. And then the last option,
35.
times tables again,
28.
28. Which had no like terms present. And then just put them together. 15x cubed,
38.
38x squared,
45.
45x,
28.
28. Question about that? That one was a little bit easier than average because every sign was positive. So every sign over here was positive, every sign in the answer is positive. That made our life a little easier. This next one has a mix of signs, so we'll have to be a little more careful with signs. But it's the same strategy, just be careful with signs. Question about that one that was all positive life? So use the 2x, we're going to get
6x squared.
6x
Oh, cube.
cubed. 2 and 4 combo.
8x squared.
8x squared. Signs, we have to be careful now.
Negative.
That is negative. The 2 match the 7.
14x.
14x, sign.
Negative. Or
Positive.
Positive, because the 7 and the 2 were both positive. And there's our first 3. Question first 3. Okay, now 5 is negative, so be careful. 5 is negative, get the hit the 3, hit the 4, hit the 7.
Negative 15.
Negative 15x squared. I'll line that up with the other squared.
negative 20x. Or 20x.
Positive 20x, because negative times negative, there's positive.
35.
Sign?
Negative.
Negative on 35. Question about making all 6. 6x cubed had no friends. 2 negatives makes, not when we add.
Bigger negative.
Bigger negative.
3.
23x squared. Adding 2 positives.
34.
It's 34x. And then the minus 35 just copies. That's the hard part of the day. So if you're good, that's a good sign. Question about the harder half. Okay. And I'll need a little bit of a turn from my front row friend. I'm going to use a little bit of this space and put more of this space probably like here.
Okay.
So we're good from there to there.
Thanks.
Okay. Second thing they're going to have you do is squaring. So what do you suppose that means if you have 3x plus 5 squared?
Multiply everything. By 2.
What is squaring?
Oh, by itself.
By itself. So 3x plus 5 needs to multiply itself another 3x plus 5. So one way you can do these squaring problems is just write down twins, doubles, 3x plus 5, and just do what we did yesterday. So what are you going to get there?
9x plus 1, 5.
9
X to the second.
x to the second when we multiply the first, so it's 9x to the second.
15x.
15x, which today I'm going to coach you maybe not to write that down.